Driving into the fen on this freshly tarmacked road was a real pleasure compared to what it was like before. But what really made me smile was looking at this.
Is there such a thing as too much fog in Woodland? So I'm over here. Hello. Yeah. Got me? Yeah. The beauty of knowing your woodland inside out is that you know exactly where to come in conditions like this. And I knew exactly where I was going to come this morning, because during the winter they cleared an area of birches here completely in terms of all the bracken and the undergrowth, I guess just to let it regenerate. And normally here it's just full of bracken and ferns and very busy on the floor, but here it's not, it's open. But during a normal morning or afternoon where standard light, standard conditions, it just looks a little bit sparse. But on a morning like this, it looks very eerie, very atmospheric. So, I also knew that on the edge of this little clearing, there's a beech tree. I think it's a beech, not a birch. Yeah, it's a beech tree. And I think there's a small copse of them here, very small copse of them here. And it's overhanging onto this clearing. And underneath it, there's this really long, spirally arm of a tree sticking out. And it looks great. And behind that, you've got the silver bark of the birches. And it's a beautiful arch over the top with this spirally arm underneath. What was that character in Rupert the Bear? Raggetty. Reminds me of Raggetty's arms sticking out there. Really weird. Looks like a pitchfork. But this little scene here with the beech overhanging, the raggedy arm and the silver birches behind would only really work in this scene because you've got the mood created by the fog that creates the story that I've just told in terms of having this really airy raggedy arm grabbing things. So you've got a bit of a character emerging from the tree now, but it's the mood and the atmosphere of the fog that's helping you develop that story. Brilliant. So technically, what have I done? I'm at f16. I'm focused in on the beech tree, manually focused in because obviously it's very hard to autofocus in the fog. And yeah, I've just got the beech tree coming over from the left over to the birches in the right hand side. I am on f16, as I said. I am on about 3.2 seconds. ISO 100. Yep, simple shot. Exposing to the right. Obviously, we've got no direct highlights coming in because they're all diffused by the fog, so you can expose to the right and then bring those highlights down if you need to. But actual fact, I think it needs a bit of light in this scene. So, right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in a bit tighter, actually, because I wanted the full scene with this first shot, but now I'm going to go in a bit tighter and actually make more use of that, of Raggetty's arm. really is a pea super this morning, and I wouldn't say it's making it difficult at all. It's making it thoroughly enjoyable actually, but you know, some of the compositions are completely enveloped in fog, like this one here. Just walking along the main path, and there's a group of trees on the right hand side. I think there's 4. There's 2 next to each other, and then 2 either side, and then there's a stump in front, and then the path goes to the left hand side, and completely enveloped in fog. And just a little group of trees is quite nice. So I'll just quickly show you what I've got framed up, and let me talk you through it. So these are the trees. So there might be one actually just branched into to 2 there, but there's the tree in the middle, one there, and then the path that goes down here. And I quite like the overhanging branch that's leading down onto the path here. And I framed this shot so I've got this tree coming in this left corner, so it sort of it draws you back in, so the distractions of the highlights up there aren't as distracting. Now the only concern I've got is that this top right hand corner is quite bright, so I might just need to bring down those highlights a bit, because I think that could catch the eye, so I might do that. But apart from that, it's just a nice simple scene, just framed up with these trees here, you know, the path leading into nowhere, which I quite like in a scene anyway. Just adds an air of mystery, and yeah, it's just a nice simple scene. So this one, again, I always have to make this excuse. When I video it, videos in 16:9, so the stump, which is here somewhere, is actually more visible. But anyway, you get an idea of what the composition looks like. So I'll show you this now. I don't think it's clearing at all, which is fantastic. So plenty more compositions to be had, I think. Here's the beast, looking dark and moody this morning. Look how much the bracken's turned here from the last time I shot it on a previous vlog. Completely turned to the browns. Not a shot here this morning though, unfortunately. No light, a bit dark, a bit shadowy, but yeah, just thought I'd show you a different season, I guess, an autumn shot or area where the beast is standing proud still. As you might expect, I'm not actually getting very far this morning, distance-wise. Enjoying the photography, but it doesn't take too long to just stumble across new compositions. And path through the fen here, and there was a tree that stood out on the left-hand side that caught my eye. So let me just show you this and talk you through this particular composition that I've just taken here. So this is the tree that I spotted here in the background. Like, it's got a nice little kink to his trunk, catching the side light nicely, and he stood out as I walked along the path. So there's 2 shots here. The one with the telephoto, where I've gone in really tight on that tree, just picked out that as a character, and another one where I've attempted to use some of this, the ferns in the foreground, as a bit of a framing, more on the right hand side of the frame. So I've got this tree here, or this stump sticking in here, and then this fern here, and I think it was this one here in the foreground, just to act as a bit of framing. Trouble is, with that particular composition I took, the left is open, so I'm not sure how that will look, but I quite like the framing here. But I think, if all honesty, I'll probably prefer the tighter one on the 400mm in at that tree. I know you Scottish photographers suffer from midges in the summer. Oh God, they look awful, I must admit. I think I watched a vlog from Samboza a couple of weeks ago, and he was up in Scotland, and those midges looked absolutely dreadful. But what we suffer from, or what I suffer from in this place, is spiders' webs. In a foggy morning like this, there are thousands of them, and they're not just the ones that sit on the ferns that you can see. They're across the paths. They're laid as traps. They really are. The spiders here are so bloody clever. They know that people are going to be walking along these paths. And I'm sure they just throw webs to each other the other side of the path and like stretch it out. Because you're walking down these paths, and they're quite big open paths, and you just get covered in spiders' webs and they get everywhere. They're a nightmare. It's up there. In fact, I'm sure when I look at these pictures that I've taken, I'm sure if I zoom in, they'll be covered in spiders' webs. Because you're not scared of spiders. Well, I am, a bit. Big ones, not the little ones. And I'm certainly not scared of any that are around here. I've walked 5 yards, literally 10 yards around this corner. There is a most gorgeous, I'm going to say, beech tree, big beech tree on this bend, catching the light. It's near the intersection of the path with a little bridge here. You see you've got the drain, so we're right in the middle covert here. And I've walked past this several times before, but this morning, with this fog and mist that's still around, silver birch underneath it, it just looks and feels right to shoot this morning. Very busy, as most scenes are here, extremely busy, but I think, well, I'm pretty comfortable that this one works. And I think it's because of the shape of it. So I'm going to show you what I mean in terms of the shape of the composition, because it all sort of works nicely. So let me show you what I mean by that. So what I mean by shape here is, you know, you've got obviously the canopy of the tree here, this beech tree, which is, you know, framing, I guess, the tops. It's giving it that top section to the picture. And then you've got the trunk of that beech here, and then you've got another, I think that's an oak behind in the distance, but then here you've got lots of sort of dying branches coming off this beech, and this in the middle here, as I say, is the bit that's quite complex, but with the silver birch here and here, and there's some right in the distance there, and the shape of those sort of, you've got the angles this way and the angles that way, and then a strong positioning anchor in the middle, which are the trunks of these trees. But obviously what makes the shot work this morning is the diffused background because of the fog. You know, without that it would be, you know, very distracting and very chaotic and quite messy. But with the fog and the mist, it just helps to diffuse it, and that sort of shape, so it's like a muffin shape. Do you see what I mean? So you got that there, goes out that way, over the top, back down. So it's like a muffin shape that I'm seeing. And I'm pretty sure, in fact, I quite like the back of the camera shot, so I'm normally okay with that when I process it. I'm pretty sure this works, albeit, as I say, you've got to accept that it's a busy scene, but all elements work together. And more importantly, there's a lot of interest going on, so it keeps the eye looking around the scene for different elements. Then it spots the silver birch and it spots the straggly branches here. So that's my theory, which I think is pretty sound, because I like the scene, but I think because of this dark beech tree above, it just adds that bit of mood and atmosphere which comes out in this foggy condition that we've got this morning. Well, that's it. So yeah, another one in the bag, as they say, and there is still plenty of fish to shoot at in this barrel this morning. Well, I think it might have to be my last shot, even though the fog is still hanging around. It's now probably 9:30. I've been here since 7:10, so, and it's still pretty thick. So it's one of those mornings you just don't want to leave. But I can't be here too long this morning. So this probably will be my last shot, he says. And it's another beech tree. Yeah, it seems to be a theme this morning of my compositions with these beech trees, and I'm quite liking just the darker trunk and the leaves, and there's a few little yellow leaves on these beech trees, and the way they just frame the fog really. So this particular shot here is again on another path, and this beech tree is overhanging this path here. There's a birch on the right hand side, and what's of interest is through the back of the scene there is a fallen birch that has been here for a couple of years. I've shot it once or twice in the autumn, and with the fog and the diffuse light in the background, it's just acting as quite a nice frame and quite a nice rounded composition. I've shot it so there's some little grasses on the left hand side that are anchoring that left hand corner, and then the eye comes through from the right hand corner through the path and underneath the canopy of the beech tree. So I think the composition works quite nicely. It's a straightforward one, but it works nicely in the mist that we've got here this morning. Technically I'm at f/16. I've had to up the ISO to 400 because these grasses in the front are just catching a little bit of the breeze. So I need them to be, because they were in the foreground, I needed those to be sharp really. I'm not bothered really about the rest, but foreground interest should be sharp in my opinion, unless it's creative and you're blowing out a frame or something. But anyway, I wanted those to be sharp, so I've upped the ISO to 400 f/16, and it's about a 25th of a second. So simplest shot, a really lovely one to end this morning. He says the word end using caution because it's a fair walk back to the car, and with the fog still hanging around, I just know I won't be able to help myself if I spot another 2 or 3 compositions. But I'll show you this one now, and then I'll say cheerio to you as I get to the car, just in case there's a few more compositions along the way. I just can't help myself. You can't see it, it's there. I'll show you. I just can't help myself. I was on the way back. I've gone 20 yards, and oh my God, this is a gorgeous little composition. And I had to stop and take this. Another swap of lens to the 100 to 400 back again. I've been swapping on and off all morning. But I haven't spotted this little tree before, or it's 2 trees I think, but it's got such a gorgeous shape to it, curved shape to it, and the mist is now actually lifting. We're now losing the fog at long last, but yeah, this I just had to stop and take this. I really did. It's just one of those shots that just was like, wow, everything works with this. So this will be my last one, because I've definitely got to get back. But so this is one that I think works from several angles. So it's the trees themselves, they've got a nice shape to them. There's some nice characters, as I say, they bend round from left to right, so they're arching over the composition and into the composition at the top. You've got some autumnal ferns and bracken on the base of the image, which is framing it. Now, I'm not sure, I've taken 2 or 3, I've gone in tighter on one and literally just got a bit of the fern coming in the left-hand corner, and then I've just gone out a little bit more to about 220, which has given me the ability to frame it slightly with the brackens and the fern on the base, but then on the right hand side you've got another couple of birches that are coming in, and they've got some leaves that are pointing in, so that acts as a bit of a frame as well. But obviously the mist is still there, it gives that nice diffused light. There is some light coming through on the left hand side, so it's catching the edges of the tree trunk, so it's giving them some definition. Yeah, Really like it, really like it. So I am going to finish with this one. I'll show you this one now, and then I'm going to walk back to the car, but I think that is it now. So thank you ever so much again for joining me this morning. We've been treated to some lovely conditions here at my favourite place, and it's a Saturday morning, and again, as we've said before, and it was only a few weeks ago that I had conditions like this on a Saturday morning that I have to just take advantage of them. So here we are. So until the next time, hope there's some woodland compositional tips. I don't do tips, but things that you might have picked up from what I've shown you that I do anyway, that has helped you guys. And yeah, let's get out and enjoy this autumn that we're now walking into. Fantastic. You take care, and we'll see you soon. It's still foggy. Look, I've got to go.